You are watching Travel World Online.
Time Hotel Group to open 8 new properties across Middle East and Indian Ocean by 2022. Associations must swing into action now to gather the attention of the government. James Kodianthara, Chairman IATO Kerala Chapter. Andhra government approves 2021 crore rupees tourism infrastructure projects. Sharad Pawar wrote letter to Maharashtra CM to support travel tourism and hospitality industry. James Kodianthara, newly appointed Chairman IATO Kerala and Lakshadweep chapter, spoke to Travel World Online TV at length and shared his views on different issues which are haunting travel and tourism industry. He said,
"Are we facing the lack of power to convince the government?" These are my observations. Now the problem here is that even if the government ignores our requests or our demands, there are alternate ways to approach them. It is our fundamental right to livelihood. If the government does not respond, that means we just stay back and say, we can't just stay back and say that, oh, we cannot antagonize the government. There's no question of antagonizing. Has the government understood what we want? Has the government heard us? There are thousands and thousands of letters going into the ministries every day. Where would our letter go and lie? As I said, they are the facilitators, and it is up to us to gather their attention. Just on the SEIS alone, they've been writing and writing. Even till recently, they've written letters. There's no response at all. There are options. Where there's a will, there is a way. For example, in Kerala, what we have done is the Kerala Travel Mart Society has gone to the High Court and filed a plea, saying this SEIS is our right. It is our way. It should be released soon. Government has admitted that travel tourism is in disarray and they cannot move ahead any further. And we have got a favorable order from the court, High Court, saying in 2 months to take this decision and to release the SEIS. Now, what we should do now? This is one High Court order. What immediately I requested the associations, IATO, everybody, swing into action now. Get similar associations in other High Courts, not 28 High Courts. You just go to the 2 or 3 or 4 High Courts. You submit a similar plea. They will give an order. This is a way to get the attention of the government.
with efforts of ITB Berlin team, the CEOs of the world's largest travel and tourism companies posted recommendations which will provide guidance and motivation to policymakers for what needs to be done.
Well, I think first of all, the travel and tourism industry is such a critical part of the world economy. It provides thousands, hundreds and thousands, and perhaps even millions of jobs across the world. I think the governments, if I were in charge of policy, I would want to make sure that I create a good perspective for the future and provide the industry with tools and a roadmap of how we can get out of this crisis. People need a perspective, and governments are in well positioned to do that.
I think, well, I would put the hotel and travel industry in charge to reopen their inbound business. I think that's our bread and butter. And when it comes to dealing with crisis, and the pandemic is a crisis, I mean, we all know that travel industry is there to support the efforts of the society with the high standards of health and safety. That's a firm belief which we have in our organization. And politics should enable the travel industry to make their contribution in fighting the corona pandemic. And I think that has been something which, unfortunately, this industry has really been left alone over so many months. And despite a lot of people have been fighting for this industry and have really tried everything to make sure that we get to the support which we need. Only in Germany, we have over 2.8 million of people working in this industry. And I'm not counting all the related people which are working towards the industry. And nobody is listening, nobody is hearing us, and everybody is ignoring this kind of industry. And this is damaging the industry. And I'm only saying I'm really disappointed about the way this politician here are going to support this industry. I don't see anything so far. Of course, there is a lot of talking, and we know that politicians love to talk. But on the end of the day, let's walk the talk, and unfortunately, we have not seen that yet. So maybe we will be lucky in the upcoming weeks that some of the politicians will change and will understand how important this is, also for the image of the country, for the outside world, which I think gets forgotten a lot. And I can only hope that people will reconsider and help to come to a solution very fast. Because having said one thing, to get some support financially does not mean that you have it on the bank account the next day. And I think therefore a lot of companies, unfortunately, will probably not be beneficial of that money because they will not have time to get the money anymore.
Let me just quickly note that in the immediate short term, it's about vaccination and testing and contact tracing. We have to continue to focus on that. That's the essential path out of this pandemic. But I think extending that a little broader, my answer is that I feel like there's a piece of infrastructure that we can improve on. And I would say that this is a coordinated effort across many, many countries. And that is the challenge. One of the key challenges that we face now is understanding what someone's status is with respect to their health in a format and in a way that is valid across all markets. It's sort of like if we all have passports that we travel with. If we also had a health passport, preferably digital, that would be one standard that we could use across the globe. Just imagine that instead of having, I don't know how many tens of different protocols and requirements, you have one platform that everyone could actually access and have available to them in the same way that people travel with travel documents. So I know that the WTTC has had some work on biometric standards for how we provide passage across borders, but in my opinion, it would be also highly additive if we could add some dimension of your health status, because I do believe there's a real chance that coronavirus may become endemic, in which case we're going to need to understand what your health status is for some years to come.
Well, that's the irony of the situation, right? Our travel industry is very low on the radar when it comes to setting policies, decisions at the governing level. Well, using blunt tools like widespread lockdowns and 21-day quarantines are neither logical nor beneficial. So if I were a policymaker, I would really listen to those on the ground who have firsthand knowledge about the devastating impact on their business and use those insights to basically create practical solutions on how to revive industry and revive life.
If I were to swap my CEO hat for a policymaker's hat, I would certainly be looking at how do I work with this value chain and what are the different incentives or different actions I could take. And in that, one certain action that I would think of in terms of my policy making is incentivizing action on sustainability, because that will certainly speed up process by getting people involved in it. And the second is regulation, because there are some people that will get motivated by incentives. There are other countries and stakeholders where regulation has made so much impact. Example, if you look in Germany, the building standards are mandated to be at a certain level, and therefore hotels are typically, to meet those standards, built at a more sustainable level. So I just focus policy making on those two pillars.
You are watching Travel World.